Right, welcome back to the Vengacast. Today I'm here with Lewis,
Hello.
and we're just going to go through the NBA playoffs, which started the other day, and we're just going to sort of look at each game one by one, say who we think will win, how many games, similar to what I've done with the NHL playoffs with James last week, but obviously different sport, different teams. We'll go through each one, see what we think of different people, and then hopefully predict a winner at the end.
Sounds good, mate.
We'll start in the West then. Probably the easiest one to call, in my opinion. Golden State and the Clippers.
Do we need to talk about this one?
Yeah.
It's going to be Golden State and 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably agree. Golden State in 4. Do you not think the Clippers have a chance at all of even getting one win here?
No. I mean, the first game was like a 30-odd point blowout.
Yeah.
And I think the first two, and although it's a bit controversial, because we have seen like a 3-1 come back and stuff like that now, I do think on the whole, the first game kind of sets the tone of the series.
Yeah.
And I think with Golden State's team, if they didn't win 4-0, it would just be a joke.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have a hope and chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the Clippers done well to get to where they are now in the 8th
Yeah.
seed. Obviously, no one really had them making playoffs, especially with 48 wins. But yeah, like you say, I just think there's such a quality gap there in terms of, I think it's pretty safe to say that Warriors have a better player in every position on the court.
Yeah, literally. I don't even did the Clippers even have an All-Star this year?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, so that just says it all.
I know, obviously, the Clippers sort of tactics were, like, you look at Patrick Beverley just trying to rile everyone up, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the tactics that they see themselves is to have a chance of winning. They're going to have to re-getting into.
Yeah, which I just think with how experienced and playoff hardened the whole team, the Warriors is.
Yeah.
I just don't think that'll work because I think they'll know what's going to be coming their way. So I still think Golden State in 4.
Yeah, I'd say 4 or 5. I think just for the sake of the Clippers maybe nicking one, I'll say Golden State in 5.
Sound.
Houston and Utah, bit of a closer one.
I'm gonna say Houston in 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think although they won pretty convincingly the other night, I still think Utah are probably the biggest dark horse in the NBA, in my opinion, apart from the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Even though the Nuggets are the 2 seed, I don't think they get enough credit for what they've done this season. But I think Utah are also in the same position.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, with having a young superstar in Donovan Mitchell, although he's not really had his full taste of playoffs yet, he's still that sort of player that's got that X factor. And, they are the 5th seed at the end of the day, so they are still obviously a good team. So I think this one will be one of the tougher ones to decide, but I still think Houston in 6.
Yeah, I mean, do you just think there'll be players like James Harden and Chris Paul sort of stepping up?
I think after Harden's performance and everything that's been said in the media about him just not performing in playoffs,
yeah,
I think he's going to make a point. And I think also as well, it might even solidify him as the MVP potentially this season.
Yeah.
I mean, after Giannis's performance, I'll talk about that later. But I think putting up nearly 30 points and 10 assists and I think 6 rebounds in your first playoff game, I think that's been quite a good way to silence the people criticising them so far. So, I definitely think he'll see the Rockets through.
Yeah, sort of similar to what you were saying. I think Utah's a squad just full of underrated players all over. I think Gobert's so criminally underrated. He's one of the best centers in the league.
He's definitely in the running for the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And I even think someone like Ricky Rubio, who just never gets the headlines, he's just so consistent and always just does a job for them when he needs to.
He's what you want your point guard to be. He gets buckets when he needs to, but he does all the playmaking and does a fantastic job at it.
Yeah. I'll say, I think you're pretty spot on. I think Houston in 6.
Yeah.
I think quite a lot of people probably have that exact projection.
Yeah, I think I couldn't. I mean, it could potentially go to Game 7, but I just think especially with having Chris Paul Harden, two players who are a lot more playoff hardened and no kind of like. Although I agree with what Kawhi said, it's still just a regular season, but with playoffs put in front of it.
Yeah.
I still think the pressure gets the players' heads, and with them having not as, although they have got quite a few vets on the team, they haven't really got many playoff experience vets.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I just think I think that'll be what the determining factor between the two teams will be.
Yeah. Probably, in my opinion, anyway, the closest series in the West, Portland and OKC.
Yeah, this is a strange one. Because I honestly initially had the Oklahoma going through 4-0. I'd actually wrote off the Trailblazers at first.
Yeah.
And OKC are kind of like my guilty pleasure. Like they're a team I shouldn't like, but I do for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I love Steven Adams. But I don't know. I just with like the performance that Westbrook and George have had through the season. I kind of just thought, the Blazers only really have Dame Lillard now since Nurkic got injured. So I kind of just ripped them off, but clearly I was wrong to do so. So I think with this one now, because it was still quite a down to the wire game.
Oh, it was close. Yeah, it was close. The Trailblazers just sort of pulled away at the end.
Yeah, I think what was it, 101 to 100? No, that was yours. I think it wasn't that. I think it wasn't a very far off game.
I'll have a look quickly. Portland Trailblazers.
Michelle League finished on 112 and OKC on 105.
It finished. Yeah, it finished 104 to 99. So 5 points. 5 points in it. I mean, it's not a lot, is it? Yeah. It's 2 scores. So
yeah. So I think this one will definitely go to Game 7.
Yeah. You were saying before about Utah and Denver being your dark horses.
Yeah.
I'd say Portland are probably my dark horses for the whole thing. I think I would fancy, because obviously if Portland went through, they'd play either Denver or San Antonio. I think I'd fancy Portland against either of them, to be honest. But
yeah, I mean, I love Dame Lillard. Like, I think he's probably the most underrated player in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think he showed that last night with like how he was like shooting at the same level as Steph Curry last night.
Literally his first shot, he just pulled it from the logo. And
yeah, and that's like speaks levels about Dame. And like I say, I think he's the most underrated player in the league. I just thought with because they've got 3 All-Star caliber players on their roster, and I thought with they don't have Nurkic anymore with him being injured. I just assumed that Dame Lillard's good, but I didn't think he'd be good enough to pull that off.
Yeah, Cantor really stepped up as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he had
replacing Nurkic in that game.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. So I definitely changed my opinion, but I still think I'm going to go with OKC in 7.
Yeah, I think I'll go Portland in 6. Don't know, I just something about that Portland squad. I just really like, and yeah, I think they're probably, as I said before, my dark horses for the whole thing. I definitely think they can at least make the Western Conference final.
Yeah,
if they really push on. The last game in the Western, Denver and San Antonio.
Now, you see, I had Denver to win the other night.
Yeah.
But obviously, the Spurs pulled out the bag. And I think with a coach like Pop, you can never write off the Spurs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, I think the West, apart from the first games like of Golden State and the Clippers, I genuinely think any of them games could go to 7.
Definitely.
And I think this one is probably going to go to 7 as well. But I'm going to have the Nuggets edging it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, obviously, the Nuggets, I wouldn't say Jokic is in MVP talks, but he's been putting up ridiculously good numbers, all-star numbers.
100%.
And I don't know, is he probably the best player on both of these teams? Or would you argue for someone else?
No, I'd probably say, like, he's definitely the best player. I think if we were talking 2 or 3 years ago, I probably would have said DeRozan.
Yeah.
But I think DeRozan's getting on a bit now, and I think that's kind of showing. in his performances at the minute. And LaMarcus Aldridge, although he's put up good numbers this season, for me, I just think he's a bit past it now.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely say Jokic is the best player out of all these all the players on them teams.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Denver probably win this series, and I know probably the most common number to go through in like the first round's like 6, but yeah, I think this will be really close. I'll say Denver go through in 7. This goes all the way. Because like you say, Popovich, obviously class coach.
Yeah.
And he always sort of finds a way, but I think Denver probably just too strong for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Going over to the East then, Milwaukee and Detroit, which was an absolute blowout last night.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, just pretty embarrassing for Detroit, really.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll be the story for the whole series?
100%. I mean, I was just watching a clip before it came on, and obviously Drummond's been the top rebounds per game player this season.
Mm-hmm.
And Giannis literally snatched an offensive rebound off him.
Yeah, Giannis was ridiculous.
And I think that's just going to be the story of this series. I think it's just going to be Giannis.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the Bucks. I think he's going to step up massively. Like, although he stepped up hugely in the normal season, I just think he's going to have more tricks up his sleeve that we don't know about that is really going to help the Bucks this year. And I think that showed last night.
Do you think it would have been the same story if Blake Griffin wasn't injured last night?
Yeah. Blake Griffin's one of my favourite players, and this season it's been a career year for him. You know, everyone thought of him as just a great athlete and not a good basketballer, and he's really proved everyone wrong this season.
Yeah, definitely. I stayed fit as well up until last night.
And I don't think it would have been as big of a blowout as what it was, but I just don't. I think they maybe would have got an extra 15, 20 points tops.
Yeah.
And that still would have been a massive blowout anyways.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough, no.
Yeah. So I think Griffin and no Griffin, Bucks in 4.
I saw something interesting on Twitter today, actually. I'll get your opinion on this. As someone said, they think Giannis is the face of the NBA now. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know. There's definitely a strong argument for, 2K this year, he's the face of 2K.
Yeah.
On NBA Pass, he gets advertised quite a lot, and he's probably one of the most heavily discussed players in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it sounds stupid, but I just think LeBron James is such a household name.
Yeah, that until he retires, no one else really.
Everyone knows him, and Antetokounmpo doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Yeah, that's why people just call him Giannis.
Yeah, so I think once LeBron retires, I 100% think Giannis will be the face of the NBA.
Yeah.
I just think until then, even with the shit season James has had, I still think he's going to be the poster boy.
So you would definitely have Giannis at least in second place at the minute, ahead of Durant and Kawhi. And
100%.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. So do you think this is just a simple 4-0 for the Bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think 4-0. This probably, I don't want to say the easiest series to call because Detroit are still a good team, but Milwaukee's a ridiculous team.
After last night as well, they're just going to be so demoralised. They'll just be thinking,
yeah, exactly.
So
Boston and Indiana.
This will be an interesting one.
Yeah.
It was the lowest scoring playoff game last night out of all these games so far.
Indiana played it very well. I don't want to say controversial, but people were sort of criticising them for how defensively and low scoring they played. It was they were playing on purpose to get the Celtics to score as little points as possible.
You see, but then people also complain that not enough defense is played in the NBA.
Yeah, you can't really win.
So you can't exactly win. But I think the Pacers put on a defensive masterclass. I thought, some of the zone that they were playing was really good.
Yeah.
But I just think when you've got X-factor players such as Kyrie and stuff like that, you still don't really stand a chance no matter how good your defense is.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be a sweep. I think like you say, common number. I think this one will go to a 6-game series to Boston.
Yeah. I don't know. The Pacers obviously they'd lost Oladipo early on, and people really thought they were going to fall off massively after that.
Yeah, and it
I
didn't.
know some Indiana fans, like skeptical ones, even thought they were worried about dropping out of playoffs, and like you said, they just kept going, and they've got some really good players. Obviously, I know you're a big fan of Miles Turner. He's a
Yeah,
really good centre for them.
hell of a center.
But yeah, I think Boston just has those sort of the players that you want in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Players like
definitely.
Kyrie, and I would probably even say Tatum. I think Tatum can show up on his day, definitely.
Yeah,
And
he's
Horford's been doing it for years.
yeah, definitely. And as that Twitter page Aaron Baines has, you know,
Yeah.
I think he's candid for MVP. If I'm being honest, after following that page.
Of course, yeah.
No, but like you say, that they've got the X factor, and I think that'll carry them through.
Yeah, I mean, for years, I sort of feel a bit sorry for Indiana in the playoffs because I feel like the last 3 years they've just got so unlucky with who they've got in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. I think this year though, like, although I did say, like, I'm still gonna stick with the Celtics. I think this year, with the way the Celtics have played, and especially some of the stuff Kyrie said and that,
Yeah,
I definitely think, like, depending on what Celtics team shows up on what day, it could definitely change everything.
yeah.
So, but I still think I'm going to stick with Celtics
Yeah,
in
I mean,
6.
in some ways, I sort of want to say having a slightly disappointing season might have benefited the Celtics here because they have even more to prove now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll say you said Boston in 6. I'll go Boston in 5.
Yeah.
Philly and Brooklyn.
You see, this is a tough one. Shout out to D Hughes. I absolutely, like, the Nets are the first team that I've seen, like, live as like, in the NBA.
Yeah,
So they're always going to hold a little place. And obviously, maybe a Lakers fan, fuck Magic Johnson, love D'Lo. So, and I thought Filler would have took them, but I was saying to Dan, once I learned that Embiid was gone there for the first few games,
yeah,
that makes such a huge difference. So I honestly think the Nets have a ridiculously good chance of going through, especially beating Philadelphia at home first game.
yeah.
So I honestly think, depending on if Embiid's out for the first 3 games, I'm gonna say Brooklyn in 5.
Yeah, I weirdly enough, I completely agree with you. I think I haven't really, neither of us have really called an upset so far. I think this is the upset.
100%.
I think Embiid played the other night, obviously, but you could tell he just wasn't right. He's obviously having issues with his knee, and I thought Simmons was really disappointing us. And I don't want to have a go at Philly fans, but I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that they were booing the players.
Yeah,
It's the first game.
that's not going to help with morale either. Like,
yeah, well, Ben Simmons came out after and said, "If you're going to boo, then don't bother coming." So
yeah, and I think as well, like, although I'm not the biggest Ben Simmons fan, I think, the amount of criticism he gets from the media is quite a lot. He's a point guard, like a 6'10" point guard, and don't get us wrong, he is a hell of an athlete.
yeah,
But he's not got a jumper, and I think everyone knows that, and he gets a lot of criticism for that on social media.
yeah,
And I don't think people realise, like, for the players, how much of an impact social media will probably play. Because I know for a fact, like, if I was an athlete and I was seeing someone, like, Ben Simmons puts up triple doubles, and then for, like, if I seen someone saying, oh, well, yeah, you can get a triple double, but you can't shoot a 3, so you're shit.
yeah,
That would affect me, I think. But I think it would affect us in the right way to maybe work harder. Whereas I think the booings really got to Simmons.
yeah. I just think that's not what Philly wants. It's not what anyone wants. You don't want to have sort of. Then it's sort of like Philly's playing against not just Brooklyn, but their own fans as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they made a big mistake booing, but Yeah, I think this will be the biggest upset, and I think the Nets will go through in 5.
Yeah, I'll say Nets in 6. We haven't really touched on any Nets players, but I just think Joe Harris was playing amazing the other night.
Yeah,
D'Lo was, as usual, playing amazing the other night.
yeah, definitely.
They've got a good bench, Brooklyn. I don't know, they just seem so calm as well throughout the whole game. Like, it never looked like Brooklyn were going to lose it once they pulled away.
No, I definitely have to agree there.
So, yeah, I'll say Brooklyn in 6. That's the upset. Last game in the East, the second seed Toronto against Orlando.
Joe, you can start this one, mate.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thought we'd get swept, and you were all wrong. So, but I don't know how, but DJ Augustine somehow kept Kyle Lowry to 0 points. 0.
I mean, we all know what Kyle Lowry's like in the playoffs, so he
I
always
didn't
goes a
expect
bit
0
quiet.
points there.
I mean, no one would expect 0 points, but he's not exactly renowned for being good in playoffs. But I've got to admit, I got quite a shock when I seen 0 points.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, I knew we could beat Toronto. I didn't actually think we would, though. I thought, because obviously, like I was saying before, everyone sort of had us getting swept. People saw this similar to the Milwaukee-Detroit game where it's like, Toronto, just walk through this. But I just think what I've loved so much about us this year, and I know the commentators were saying it throughout the game, we just never give up.
Yeah.
And I think Toronto went on a 22-2 run or something stupid like that, and we just stuck with it the whole time and nicked it at the end. And I think it's just our perseverance in games like that, especially in the second half of the season, we've done so many times, especially to the top teams as well. Like in the second half of the season, we've beat Golden State and OKC.
Yeah, I think they took a very good grit and grind approach this year, which I think's been needed, and I don't think a lot of teams in the NBA have the tenacity that you have had to push through and see to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to us after December, but whatever Clifford's done he's turned us into, I would probably say, the hardest working team in the NBA in the second half of the season.
I think one thing that would probably help you as well, though, is like the fact is it's so overlooked.
No one gave us a chance.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of NBA players will have the same mentality that if you get overlooked, it makes you want to work that bit harder.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a massive factor, especially for players like Vooch. Mm-hmm. I think he'll be thinking, I was an all-star this year. People are saying that I don't deserve to be here, so I'm going to prove you wrong.
Well, it's like I'm a fan of Kyle Kuzma, and I have nothing really against him, but I think like his interview where he said he'd rather play bad at the Lakers and get talked about than play well for the Magic.
Yeah.
And no one talk about him. I just think comments like that help us because all players are like, fine then.
Yeah.
We'll just go and prove you wrong.
No, I'll have to agree there. Like I love Kuzma, but I do think it's a bit wrong for saying that.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I think things like that is what gives you the motivation to sort of push on and win.
But as good as we have been, and as hardworking as we are, and as good perseverance as we have, I do think Toronto. I mean, Kawhi was really good. I don't think for the whole series, Lowry will have a game like what he did on the first night.
No, definitely not.
Marcus Gasol was doing well for them. Siakam was incredible for them. I just think ultimately they do have enough to beat us, and I would say I'll say that they win in 6 games.
Yeah,
Toronto go through in 6 games.
I would be inclined to agree with you there. I think just like, although he's got Vooch, who is an all-star and he is a really good player.
Vooch was actually one of our worst players the other night, which is what made it even more impressive. Probably our 2 best players in the second half, T. Ross and Vooch, were probably our 2 most disappointing players the other night, and we still came away with a win.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, although he still got that X factor about him, I just think, and you've got people like Kawhi Leonard, who literally it was a Finals MVP on defending LeBron James. I just think that sort of player is what's going to get you to the not conference finals, but I think they'll get through this round. So I'm going to say, same as you, 6 games.
Yeah, I mean the next game I think is huge in this. I think if we go 2-0, then the whole sort of scale changes for this series.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I think Toronto will take the next one. I think they might
Yeah.
get a few wins after that. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. Hoping.
Yeah, hopefully.
Back across to the Western, going through to the next round. I think we both had Golden State and Houston.
Yeah.
So how would you see that game playing out?
I don't know. This is probably going to be one of the harder games to call.
Yeah, a repeat of last year's Western Conference final.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the tougher games to call. But I still see probably I'd go with Golden State in 7.
Yeah. Obviously, that was the exact same what happened in the Western Conference last year.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, not much has changed on either of those squads, so I can see that happening again, definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Would you say Houston's the closest quality-wise to Golden State in the West?
In the West, definitely, yeah.
Even though they're a 4 seed, you would still put them above Portland and Denver.
They just had a rough start of the season, with like injuries and stuff like that. And I think if they'd had all their players fit from the start of the season, I think they probably would have been 2nd seed, to be honest. So I think they just got very unlucky at the start, but then obviously they pulled it back. James Harden went on his incredible run. So I just think, yeah, they'll pull through.
Yeah, but as usual, the same old story. Golden State just has too much for them in the end.
Yeah, 100%, and I think that's going to be a story for a lot of the brackets.
I mean, I think everyone would have Golden State winning. I think if anyone who doesn't have Golden State going to the finals, they're lying probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Or they're supporting one of the teams who Golden State are going against. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think just for the sake of being different, I'll say Golden State win it a game earlier than 6. But yeah, it could go either way. That really.
Yeah, definitely.
Next, I think you had OKC
beating
Portland, so it'd be OKC and Denver for you.
Yeah, that's what I had. I think in this game, I'd say OKC in 7.
Mm-hmm. Another really close series.
Yeah, I think Steven Adams, it might be a little bit biased here, but I think Steven Adams definitely has the ability to guard Jokic and, score on him as well.
Yeah.
And I think that'll come in crucial because Jamal Murray, although he's a good young player, he's nowhere near as good as Russ. And I think as well, with having Paul George in there as well, that big 3 head, it's quite an underrated set of players in my opinion. Obviously I know Paul George and Westbrook could arguably be MVPs, but I think people don't give them the sort of respect because it's Paul George and Westbrook. They just get so overlooked because people are just so used to them being amazing on a consistent basis. A bit like LeBron as well. Obviously not to the same level, but that sort
Similar,
of yeah. So I think OKC will take this one in 7 games.
Yeah. Do you agree with people who say Westbrook's playing style damages OKC when it gets to the off season, like the playoffs? Because a lot of people blamed him for the first round exit last year.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's always going to be a bit of an ego there when you've got a player like that, because they are going to want to, especially with the nickname that he's got, he is going to want to kind of protect his sort of image.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, it doesn't matter what team you're playing for. If someone puts up a triple-double, it's never going to be negative for the team, really.
Yeah.
In regard, even though Russ got one, he got a 20-20-20 game on 33% shooting. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but he still got those 20 assists, 20 points.
Exactly, and I think that's going to be the big difference there.
Yeah. I had Portland, Denver. I think that would be one hell of a matchup, to be honest. They're so similar.
Yeah. Pretty
much everywhere. I think it would pretty much be Denver's sort of front court would be superior, but Portland's back court is far superior.
Yeah.
So it would be completely different styles, but very similar sort of well-positioned teams. Obviously, the 3rd and 2nd seed.
Yeah.
But, I know. Be a really close one again. Same as yours. I think this would go to 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to stick with my sort of dark horse call and say Portland go through to the Western Conference Final.
And how many games?
7.
7.
Ridiculously close. Like I say, I don't think there's... You can pick out players who would separate them, like Jokic and Lillard for Portland, but anyone can show up on their day for either of these, really, and it will be ridiculously close.
Definitely, I'll agree there.
Back over to the East again. I think we both had Milwaukee and Boston. So how does that go?
I think, again, bit of a self-explanatory series, but I think this one will be closer than Milwaukee and Detroit, and I'm going to say...
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I'm going to say Milwaukee in 6.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all it's saying, isn't it? Bucks in 6.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be the way it's going to go.
Yeah, I think Bucks also win this, but I think this will be sort of the Bucks statement series. I think they'll do Boston in 5.
Yeah.
Really sort of... I don't want to say scare Golden State. I don't think Golden State will be scared of anyone, but Golden State will sort of look across their shoulder and go, we could have a challenge if we get them in the finals.
Yeah.
But, I think, once again... But do you think Boston have a chance at all? Say if Kyrie plays incredible every game, Tatum plays incredible every game.
You've still got Giannis and Middleton, though.
And, Bledsoe.
Yeah, I just think, just with the caliber of player Giannis is, especially lately, he's been shown that he can shoot threes and stuff like that.
It's scary, to be honest.
And I think that in itself is a statement. I think that's Giannis, and I'm not even being biased here, because I've actually watched an interview, and Giannis has said Kobe challenging him to win the MVP has motivated him a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely showing. He's got that man mentality of working hard, and he's developed the 3 ball. And I think that's what's making him the most dominant player in the league.
Mm-hmm. I think people I think because the Bucks aren't traditionally here. They haven't sort of been at the top of the East for years.
Yeah,
but people need to realise that this is a 60-win team. They're no mugs at all.
They've got more regular season wins than Golden State.
Yeah, exactly. They're the only team this year with over 60. So
yeah, exactly.
Fair play to the Bucks. I think that they'll definitely win this series. Obviously, Boston not a bad team at all, but Boston just in the last few years haven't seemed to get it right in the playoffs, and I think it continues this year, even without LeBron in the East.
Yeah.
So in the next one, we both have Brooklyn and Toronto. This will be another very interesting one, I think.
Again, it could be an underdog story.
Mm-hmm.
Although the Nets, haven't got anywhere near as good of a record as Toronto. I do think that with D'Lo in the squad, they've got the best 3-point shooter in the league in Joe Harris. They've got up-and-coming talent in Jarrett Allen in the centre. I definitely think that they've got a massive, massive, massive chance to pull upset. But like I said before, Toronto have got a Finals MVP who's guarded arguably one of the best players of all time in that series. And I just think Kawhi is going to really come through in the playoffs, I personally think. And I think this one, I'll go a 6 to Toronto, I'm going to say.
Yeah. I'm going to say... I think I'm going to go for the upset again. I want to sort of... I was talking to Dan the other day before the playoffs started, and he said to me he would rather have Toronto than Philadelphia first round.
Yeah.
And I was sort of asking him why, and he said it's because he thinks they'd have a much better chance guarding against Toronto because he thinks Brooklyn have the superior backcourt to Toronto, which I'd probably agree with, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd agree there.
And I don't know, I think I even fancy Brooklyn's sort of front court against Toronto as much as obviously Kawhi's an absolute animal and Siakam's doing well, and all these sort of tall players for Toronto can show up on their day in Marc Gasol, but I think I'll go for the massive upset here, and once again a bit similar to Boston, Toronto's playoff hopes just sort of go a bit adrift again.
Mm.
More disappointment. Maybe opens up. You can just sort of see it happening. I think opening up a few questions about Kawhi's future and whether Lowry's good enough for that team. If he disappoints in that series again,
Yeah, definitely.
I'll say Brooklyn in 6.
Fair play.
Western Conference Finals. So you have Golden State and was it? You said
Oklahoma?
OKC.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think this will be as close as what I want it to be. Like I said before, I've got a guilty pleasure with OKC. But I think just the Warriors outclass them. Although Steph Curry will get clamped up by Russ because he plays incredible defense, it's Steph fucking Curry.
Yeah.
And then like even a small forward, I think KD I'd say 8 times out of 10 beats Paul George. So I'm gonna say, unfortunately, the Warriors in 5.
Yeah, I have Portland, Golden State. I think this goes very similar way. Portland, ridiculously good team, especially backcourt wise, but Golden State are probably the only team in the West who could match their backcourt with Clay and Steph.
I wouldn't even say match it. I'd probably say are better than.
Yeah, they are, if we're being honest. Probably, especially Steph, for certain, future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, he's just took most playoff threes made. Yeah. So
that exactly
that says it all, really.
And I think, like you said, obviously players like Steph and Clay and Draymond, they're 3-time NBA champions now. They've been here so many times before and done it. Whereas this will be quite new territory for Portland if they made it here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Golden State in 5, same as you with OKC.
Yeah.
And no shock here, we both have Golden State making the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it?
And if anyone doesn't, they're lying. Over to the East, Milwaukee and Toronto for you.
Yeah. So, bit generic, first and second seed playing off. I just think with the caliber of the brackets before, I think it's kind of, in my opinion anyways, it's inevitable. However, again, like with Golden State and OKC, I'm going to say it's 5 games till... No, I'm going to go with 6 games, actually. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go 6 games to Milwaukee. Although I've been banging on about Kawhi, because I do love Kawhi as well. Fantastic player.
Yeah.
Giannis, I think this season has proved that he could potentially... Now, it's going to be controversial, I'm about to say, but I think he could potentially surpass Jordan as the greatest player of all time.
I think he's definitely on the right path too.
Because I'm not being funny. Although, Jordan, he's not as athletically gifted, as Giannis with his height, etc., and his wingspan.
Yeah.
I just think everything Giannis does at the minute, he's got the Midas touch at the minute. Everything's just turned to gold.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. Definitely has the potential to do that in terms of talent and ability. I think I don't necessarily think, because I think the league's so much more competitive now than when Jordan played. I don't think Milwaukee will win as many titles as that Bulls team did.
No, definitely not.
I definitely agree with you in terms of talent and actual ability.
Yeah, 100%. I just think there's something different about him. Like, as cliche as that is, he's absolutely fantastic. And he's just been playing so well, and he's led a team that no one really thought anything of to the first seed, the only team in the NBA with 60 wins this season.
Yeah.
And I just think that although the team themselves as well and the coach have been absolutely fantastic, I just think that speaks a lot about Giannis as a player and what he can bring and what he brings to a team. So although I would like to see Toronto do better, I'm going to say Milwaukee in 6.
Yeah. I have the Nets in Milwaukee. I think as much as I've had the Nets pulling off a few shocks, I think this is where it ends ultimately. I think this is pretty, not easy, but Milwaukee, for me, win this in 5, probably.
Yeah.
I'll give the Nets a game. Even that, I'm not too sure about.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think if I was saying about that, as much as I love the Nets, and Dan's probably going to hate us for saying this, I probably would have seen the Nets getting swept.
Yeah, I think I'm being a bit generous there, giving Brooklyn a game, but
Yeah,
I think it could happen. I mean, if D'Lo shows up on his day, then why not? But yeah, I think Milwaukee just ultimately better than Brooklyn. Just
100%.
pretty self-explanatory, just a better team.
100%.
And yeah, I think Milwaukee advanced to the finals quite comfortably.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So we both have the exact same finals.
Yeah.
Warriors and Milwaukee, the 2-1 seeds.
Yeah, definitely. For me, this goes to Game 7, and I'm going to give it a Milwaukee.
Love that. Same.
Although they've got 5 All-Stars, they've got Chef Curry, Clay, Durant, Draymond, and Cousins. Like I'm saying, I think Giannis has got the Jordan factor. He's got that Mamba mentality sort of thing. And I just think that he kind of is like what... He's basically a mixture of LeBron and Jordan.
Yeah.
He's like got LeBron's athleticism and Jordan's...
explosiveness.
Yeah. And I just think that is going to absolutely carry them through. And I think that's what's going to get them that Game 7 win.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think this will be a season where people look back at Giannis and go, that's one of the best individual player performances
100%.
ever in one season.
100%.
I think Milwaukee make history here. Obviously, Wisconsin's a state of champions traditionally with the Packers, and the Brewers made the NLCS final in baseball last year. Wisconsin's really on the rise at the minute in terms of sporting teams.
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee sort of set the statement for the rest of them by making history this year and winning it.
Yeah.
In terms of games, I mean, Golden State aren't bad at all. They probably will take this to at least 6.
Yeah.
And I think I'll follow the old saying, as I mentioned before, Bucks in 6.
Yeah.
But it will be ridiculously close.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of the most competitive playoffs we're ever going to see.
As much as I don't like Golden State, this will probably be the best matchup for the final.
Yeah.
This will be one hell of a game.
Definitely.
Like, absolutely ridiculously good game.
Definitely.
And, it'd just be so good if Milwaukee could win it.
It would be class. I think what would be even more satisfactory to me is if the Rockets knocked out Golden State.
Yeah.
But then I suppose as well, the only thing that makes worse is who's going to win the MVP, and Giannis or Harden then.
Yeah. I mean, for me, yeah, I know we've already done a video on this. I think Giannis is the MVP for me.
Yeah.
You agree as well,
100% agree. But,
yeah.
I mean, it definitely changes things around if Harden knocks out Golden State. Well, I say Harden. If the Rockets knock out Golden State and Harden doesn't disappear, I definitely think that betters his chances for the MVP sort of rating, but I still think it's going to be Giannis.
Yeah, if the Bucks do win this year, if we're both predicting, what do you think the repercussions will be for both those teams, Golden State and Milwaukee, going into the next season?
KD won't resign, 100%. I don't think KD's going to resign anyways.
I agree, yeah.
I don't think this is a good prediction, but I think there could be a good chance that Clay doesn't resign as well.
Where would you, if he didn't resign, where would you like to see him go?
Honestly, and I know you're going to say, oh, fucking hell, he have a go, but I'd love him at the Lakers.
Yeah.
He would just fit the system so well. I say the system, the shit system that we had before Luke got sacked.
Yeah.
He would have fit that perfectly. Like the pace and space sort of thing. But also as well, everyone knows that LeBron needs spot-up shooters around him. And
yeah, like Kyrie at Cleveland.
Yeah, and what better to do than put the best spot-up shooter in the league on a team with LeBron?
I think in terms of pure shooting ability, I think you could probably argue Clay's better than Steph.
Yeah.
I think it's just that Steph's a better all-round player, so he can make that space for himself and really lose his man and take people and that.
Definitely. So I think that'll be ideal scenario because we'll have the cap space to do it. But I could see him definitely going to the Knicks.
Who, Clay or
Clay and KD?
Jesus.
Because
the Knicks will become a super team in the space for you.
Yeah, because I'm not being funny, but if they sat down and thought about it realistically, if they got Zion, which they probably will, if they get Zion and then KD and Clay think, well, we've got this young kid here who's going to be great. We're both already great. We'll both play for the same team. It's not actually tampering. Fuck it, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So
to New York.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I think that'll be the biggest repercussion. I think definitely KD won't resign anyways, but I think there's a potential Clay won't resign, and I don't think Boogie will either. And
then what about Milwaukee? If they won, do you think they go on to become sort of a dynasty for the next few years, or is this sort of a one-off season?
I think with Giannis, I think they're going to be the team to beat for years to come, to be honest. I think it's just what they decide to do with the players around them more than anything.
Yeah. Like you say, they've sort of got the best out of who would have been classed as average players like Bledsoe and Middleton, who are now, well, obviously Middleton was an all-star, but I think Bledsoe was pretty close as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I think Milwaukee, it's a very exciting times to be a Bucks fan at the minute.
100%. I think they've probably got the most to look forward to out of any team in the league at the minute.
Yeah, I mean that team literally has everything. They have 3-point shooting centers coming off the bench, and they pretty much have an attack for every situation.
Exactly. So I think that they've definitely got what it takes to become the next big dynasty in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh well. So we both have Milwaukee Bucks as the 2019 NBA champions.
Nothing more to say really there.
Yeah. Cheers for coming on, Lewis.
No worries. Thanks for having us once again.
Have you back on again soon. Probably do something for like the finals or something when it comes around. More like closer look into that.
Yeah.
If it is to be Golden State and Milwaukee, as we predicted.
See how accurate our predictions actually were.
Yeah. Hopefully we've done all right.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I wouldn't mind getting the Magic game wrong. If I get that wrong, then I'm not too bothered.
No, that would be nice for you. That would be really good. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens there.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening. See you later.